Good afternoon. This is Jonathan Hinesley. I'm here to discuss with you Ambien CR and the direct-to-consumer advertising. First, I'd like to do an overview of direct-to-consumer advertising here in the United States. We are one of two countries, New Zealand is the other, that currently permit the marketing of direct-to-consumer advertising. This is important because we recognize that while the rest of the world is against this marketing tool, we still find value in its methods. Through this presentation, I hope that we can discuss the Food and Drug Administration's regulation and policy, the pros and cons of direct consumer advertising, the side effects of Ambien CR, and conclude with my opinion whether to continue this decision or pursue other options. In 1962, the Food and Drug Administration began its regulation of drugs and the marketing that goes along with it. This part was to protect the American people from drugs and policies that were meant to do more harm than they were to help. By the early 1980s, pharmaceutical companies were beginning to market to the general public. By 1983, it was first televised with an arthritis ad encouraging consumers to speak with their doctors. I think that speaking with doctors about medication is very important, but as we get later on in the slides, you'll understand that sometimes our limited education on medication and their side effects may actually do more harm. In 1993, the FDA sought to have pharmaceuticals voluntarily submit their advertisements before reaching consumers, but they did mandate that all side effects and contraindications be contained in the ad. That sounds great that we now have the side effects and the risk associated with the ad or with the drug in the ad, but as they say in Latin, caveat emptor, or buyer beware, because these cautionary information was written in such a way that it was impractical for consumers to understand the risks associated with the drug. This ranged from quick glimpses of the risks associated with a person who read the material very speedily that it was hard to understand them, or the print was so small that it was illegible for anyone to understand what was being said. So not as helpful as it was, but it was mandated. But there are loopholes to every mandated thing that comes about. In 1995, there was the first public hearing held by the FDA to discuss direct-to-consumer ads. The stockholders of pharmaceutical companies were the ones that sought out the FDA to encourage them to continue with this marketing tool. By 1997, the FDA released the Guidance to Industry. The consumer-directed broadcast advertising was written and decreased the restrictions and regulations required by the FDA for direct consumer ads. And in 1999, just 2 years later, the pharmaceutical companies recognized an increase in profits of $1.8 billion due to marketing directly to consumers. In 2002, we as the United States agreed that we would never ban direct consumer advertising due to its policy regarding the First Amendment and the right for drug companies to have a freedom of speech in reaching consumers. But also with this came the oversight that the FDA was put in place to protect the American people from false reports and claims that could solve problems while there are more risks associated with the drugs. With the pros of direct consumer advertising and the cons being listed here, you'll see that there are some things on either side of it, and it is all in the way in which we present them. The pros are that we are increasing patient awareness and education about disease processes and how these drugs will help to take care of that. Also, that increased treatment of these diseases is removing stigma associated with medical conditions, which is a wonderful thing that people are aware, and there's not a shame to, recognize that we all have illnesses or we all have things that we are dealing with. So getting proper treatment by medical physicians is a fantastic thing that DTCA can offer us. There was also a pro of improving the value for healthcare by increasing the monetary amounts in the research and development so that new drugs can be created and marketed to help take care of other illnesses. They also assume that patients are going to have improved compliance because they're the ones that are seeking out the information, that they're the ones going and talking to their doctors, so they're actively wanting medication to treat whatever illness they need help with. And by doing so, that improves the physician-patient relationship. On the counter side of this is that pharmaceutical companies are misleading the public, and there's an unbalanced disclosure of the risks versus the benefits. Not all conditions require medication. We go through a process in life, it's aging. We are going to have things that happen to us that may not require medication at all. But with these direct-to-consumer advertisings, we think maybe there's something that can take care of my ailments, my tired body, my decrease in metabolism. But these are all things that happen because we're people and we grow old. And also, when we think about these natural changes in our life, and how medication can take care of us, we see that, there may be increased risk associated with a new drug because of its side effects, and those side effects may be worse than the actual condition that we're dealing with. That to me is one of the biggest things right there, is knowing that, are my side effects going to be able to help me better than what I'm actually dealing with because of my natural life process. This also is where money is being diverted from the profits from research and development of new drugs, but to increase the bottom line that a company needs to meet. Having worked in healthcare and being a nurse, I do get patients that come in to discuss their issue, and some of them want certain medications because of what they've seen or heard. There's a lot of things that we can do without going to medication beforehand, and some people are more compliant than others. When you come in to see us and you have lifestyle choices that you're making, and you aren't eating well, or you're not exercising enough, but you think that a drug is going to be a magic cure, it's likely not. And there's a lot of, again, side effects associated with these drugs. Wanting doctors to prescribe these medications may actually put pressure on the doctor to do so, but it actually breaks the relationship between the patient and the physician, because these drugs for a doctor may seem unnecessary or inappropriate. And lastly, when marketing this as a means to educate consumers, it's laughable, since the main goal is that profit is going to reach the pharmaceutical companies, not education to the consumer. In this slide, we're going to watch the Ambien CR ad and look at its claims.
When morning comes in the middle of the night, it affects your entire day. To get a good night's sleep, try 2-layer Ambien CR. The first layer dissolves quickly to help you fall asleep, and unlike other sleep aids, a second dissolves slowly to help you stay asleep. When taking Ambien CR, don't drive or operate machinery. Sleepwalking and eating or driving while not fully awake, with memory loss for the event, as well as abnormal behaviors such as being more outgoing or aggressive than normal, confusion, agitation, and hallucinations may occur. Don't take it with alcohol, as it may increase these behaviors. Allergic reactions such as shortness of breath, swelling of your tongue or throat may occur, and in rare cases may may be fatal. Side effects may include next-day drowsiness, dizziness, and headache. In patients with depression, worsening of depression, including risk of suicide, may occur. If you experience any of these behaviors or reactions, contact your doctor immediately. Wake up ready for your day. Ask your healthcare provider for 2-layer Ambien CR.
Well, that was a very well-made commercial. Obviously, I think anyone that has trouble sleeping is going to appreciate going to work and feeling refreshed, as you could see as the main character in the ad did, while her co-worker looked tired and down, having not taken the medicine. Ambien CR will give you a good night's sleep, as the commercial explains. It's a product claim ad because it announces this and also states the drug in the commercial. Ambien CR is able to offer benefits to those that suffer with trouble sleeping, while also highlighting some negative effects and risks associated with the drug. It's well known in media for its side effects, but the way the ad markets to the audience makes it seem like a routine prescription. In the next couple slides, we'll talk a little bit more about what makes this a product claim ad and some of the side effects associated with Ambien CR. Ambien's audience. The ad tells the story of those that suffer or should suffer from trouble sleeping to try it and gain that well-needed rest that allows them to take on the challenges of the day. It's important to notice that the actors that played in the ad come from different racial backgrounds and genders, but are similar in age and socioeconomic status. The career working men and women are the main targets of the ad, and this could be extended to anyone that falls in these age ranges, or those that are actually have problems associated with sleeping, getting a full night's rest. So obviously anyone that has that problem is who the ad is actually marketing to. And there were quite a few side effects listed. I don't think that the ad went into much detail, but I want to go through a little bit more about these side effects. Thanks to the FDA website, there's 4 full pages of side effects and precautions that may or may not have been disclosed in the direct consumer ad. It's a great tool to go to the FDA website so that you can seek out information that, before going to a doctor and see if it's actually something worthwhile for taking. Some of the side effects include sleepiness during the day, not thinking clearly, acting strangely confused or upset, performing activities while asleep. That includes sleepwalking, eating, sleep talking, engaging in sexual activities while asleep, and also while driving a car. I don't know if there's ever a point where I want to be asleep and not know that I'm doing these things. It puts myself at severe risk, and if I'm to be in a car driving impaired and have no knowledge of it, I think that's one of the worst things that you could market. I think that's a side effect that too often we overlook, and the media has definitely portrayed this in a negative light, as they should. You're also likely to have anxiety, memory loss, abnormal thoughts and behavior, headaches, dizziness, and drowsiness associated with the drug, but that's while taking it. After you stop taking the medicine, you may experience trouble sleeping again. Nausea and vomiting, flushing of the skin, lightheadedness, uncontrolled crying, stomach cramps, and panic attacks. For those of you that still think these options are great things, you shouldn't take it, though, if you have drank alcohol during that day. Take any other sleep medications. If you're not able to achieve a full night's sleep on the medicine, if you have an allergic reaction, or if you have any history of depression, mental illness, or suicidal thoughts, because those may be increased like the ad said. If you have a history of addiction, if you have kidney or liver disease, have had lung disease, or if you currently have breathing problems, it's not a drug that you should take. If you are pregnant or wanting to become pregnant, or if you are breastfeeding, this drug is not something you should have taken because it may affect your child, your infant, your unborn baby. So all things here listed are just some of the common things that the FDA has listed as side effects to a drug that is just helping to achieve a good night's rest. Something, again, I spoke about earlier is, working in healthcare as a nurse, your exercise, your diet, all of those things are lifestyle choices that affect sleeping. Why would someone not first look to manage those things before taking a drug? I don't know, and I'm not saying that people do, but knowing that there are advertisements out there marketing to people for a quick fix, rather than actually making actual changes to help those problems, that's something we should be looking at. So in conclusion, while direct-to-consumer advertising may encourage awareness and help to remove stigma by marketing it to the public eye, there are greater risks associated with new drugs that affect the normal aging of our human existence. We shouldn't be so caught up to take medicine as a quick fix, but looking at our lifestyle choices. This process of marketing, along with increasing budgets and prescription-seeking patients, cause providers to be pressured into prescribing drugs that are unnecessary, while then looking to treat the side effects associated with those drugs. These patients may be misinformed or undereducated, and while that is important, is not appropriate for drug pharmaceutical companies to try and educate people without giving them the full education. If we were to act in a way that we were to promote awareness of disease processes rather than prescription medication, then maybe we'd have patients and physicians working together and becoming champions over those diseases, while limiting the side effects and the profits associated with billion-dollar drug companies that are more concerned with money than helping us as a society. I thank you for your time today. Hopefully my presentation has been educational for you all. And again, maybe next time that you are watching a direct consumer advertisement, you will research or speak with your doctor about the disease itself before looking to get medication. Again, it's something that we all want to see change and to take action to help ourselves, but not necessarily does it have to come in the form of a pill. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day.